You get more than just coffee with S&D Coffee. You get global sourcing capabilities, product innovation, and a commitment to category management that will maximize your sales around the clock. If it's hot, S&D has it in a growing portfolio of products and brands, along with coffee that's rated among the best in the world. For your store, make it coffee and more.
This is Steve Holtz for CSP TV, and we are back at a Parker site in Savannah, Georgia, and I'm talking with Greg Parker about some of the things he's doing to really make his company grow and be successful. Greg, I want to thank you for joining us, and let's start by talking about technology. You've brought some new interesting things in.
Steve, we're doing some very cool things. We're working with a company called Lift Technologies, and what we've done is we figured out a way to use technology to help us do plus sales. All of us run promotions on a monthly basis, but what is the efficacy of the program that we're running in our stores? Right. So if you're running Coke's 2-liter, 20-ounce NRs, 2 for $2.20, and a regular NR is $1.50, and it's $2.20 for the second Coke, we have a screen that shows what happens when the person that's up at the POS scans it, and it shows what's going on the screen where they can see 2 for $2.20. And then on the back of the screen is a readout. And what the CSR does, they look at the readout and they say, hey, sir, you can have a second one for 70 cents. So we've been able to measure the efficacy of the program. We've been able to determine who your best closers are in your store. Your CSRs, when they're making these offers, are they doing it? Is it really happening? If you're running cigarette specials or whatever the specials are, who's doing the best job of closing with the consumer to plus sell? The other thing that it does is it intuits and understands that there are affinity sales that naturally occur with other things. So they have a software program that allows you to look at it and determine if you get a bag of Frito-Lay chips, what are the 1, 2, 3 top things that sell with that. So on the back of the screen, the moment of truth occurs when the CSR says, oh, would you like a Pepsi Cola with that, sir? Whatever that might be. Right. So it's not only seeing it, but it's hearing it. It's when the CSR says, hey, here's an opportunity for you.
The results thus far?
The results are robust. We are seeing a lift in our stores of about $12,000 per store per month. Yeah. The other thing that we have is we're working with a company called People Matter. And with People Matter, there's a touch screen at the POS where you can touch the screen saying, what was your customer experience like? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you're using 20% on each of those, you might say, hey, person, we're going to pay you $1.25 an hour extra if you are doing a great job of meeting a hurdle rate of say 84%, whatever that might be. We have not done the pilot yet, but we're about to. But think about it, how cool is that? What if you can rate your CSRs? We have 400 employees. What if we can rate them from best to worst to see who the best people are? Who are getting the best reviews from the customers? Real time, real data that you can look at and see what was the experience that customer had when they were standing in front of your POS. Mm-hmm. So what are you going to do? You're going to try to have the employees that close the most sales work in the busiest shifts, and the employees that deal with the most customers, who have the best customer service, work in the busiest shifts. Yeah. It's great. It's taking technology to customer service to increasing store sales.
That's great. You say it's all about data, and that's something that's kind of a mantra here at the company. When we look back at SOI, top quartile numbers, things like that, you guys are historically always right near the top. How do you get there, and is it about data, and can anyone else do that?
Well, sure. Yes, people can do it, but it's whether or not they're going to pay attention to the details to do it. But we have an incredibly low break-even cents per gallon. We're negative. And how do we do it? We pay attention to driving gross profit, and we pay attention to diminishing expenses. So if you're going to talk about two big buckets, that's where you want to focus. But we look at all kinds of things. For instance, in our stores, every single item that we have in our stores has to justify its existence. So we look at our space to sales, space to gross profit, and our sales to purchases. And we do this often. So if you have an item like, say, Red Bull, that's turning a bigger profit, you might want to give more space to that than something that's a higher velocity sale but lower gross profit. And then out on the floor, we look at sales to purchases. And we do that, and we completely reset our stores twice a year. Wow. So what do we learn when we do our sales to purchases? We find out what we're bringing in the store that's not selling, and we find out what comes into the store and is going out but not being paid for.
Right.
So we know where to place things in our store as well.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. If you want to hear more about Parker's, watch for the November issue of CSP Magazine. Reporting for CSP, I'm Steve Holtz.
Thanks, Steve.
You get more than just coffee with S&D Coffee. You get global sourcing capabilities, product innovation, and a commitment to category management that will maximize your sales around the clock. If it's hot, S&D has it in a growing portfolio of products and brands, along with coffee that's rated among the best in the world. For your store, make it coffee and more.